StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hampton music moments and everything in between. I'm Sick Braxton.
And I'm Mike D. Jackson.
Uh, that's not Ja Rule.
If that's what we're doing today, that's fine. That's
No,
fine, man.
it's the do-rag, bro. Like I feel like I'm in a, I feel like it's an old school like 2003 like Ja Rule video. It's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm perpetuating a narrative that's been throughout your life for a few years now, and I don't want to be a part of that. But I did think.
No, it's okay because here's the thing. You can have as many jabs as you want, like it's going to get a lot worse for you
I know.
because it's going to happen for you on this pod, off the pod.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, so that's fine. That's completely fine.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't take a lot of pop shots like that. So I feel like you should just let me have this one and call it a day.
I guess I'll let the bus pass on this one.
There you go. You see, you learned. You learned the lesson. Shout out to Two Tall Boys. But how you doing, man?
Notice how you're wearing the shirt, and then so
No, that's good. Even though this is our we're idiot line.
I wasn't going to say that part, but I'm good, man. Can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm coming off a weekend where I kind of followed your footsteps, right? You know, you had the Triple S tour a
Yeah,
couple years, was it a year ago, 2 years ago now?
last year. It
Last
feels
year,
like
yeah.
two, but yeah, last year.
Yeah. I didn't want to go too deep into it, but yesterday I went to a concert. It was like the Cowboy Bebop big band or whatever, where they just played like the songs from the anime and then had the visuals in the background. I don't normally do like concerts at all or like any type of like music related stuff, especially if I go by myself. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna step out of my comfort zone, man, and go to that. And I had a great time. And then I have one next month and the following month. So it's my own little mini tour. I don't know what I would call it though.
That's fine, but that's dope, man. Like it's always one of those things where I've always had people ask me. I actually had it re-asked again. I think it was Saturday night when I went out. One of the guys like, "Yo, man, who you out here with?" I'm like, "By myself." He's like, "You always come out by yourself?" I'm like, "For the most part, yeah," because I don't like trying to make plans with people, and then
Mhm.
people have that weird thing that they do where it's like, oh, like I'm going to cancel on people at the last moment, and then hopefully they cancel on me. So I was like an asshole. You're still a fucking asshole. Like if you really have like anxiety or whatever the fuck it's called, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I don't know. Just stop asking people or expecting people to invite you out. So that's
Yeah.
why I go out on my own, make my own friends. So it doesn't matter where I go out, I'll be good
Mhm.
because some people are terrified of that. I realize that. And it's not for everybody. But the thing is, we got to have fun while we're here. You feel me? Doesn't matter where you go, what you do, got to enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, I had a good time. It was fun. It was a fun time for me. Um, this is also a good time. You know, we have a good time on this podcast. Um, yeah, and we're gonna have another good time because we have a new tape that we're reviewing. This is my pick. This is my pick this week, and we're doing the Binge Volume 2, Gathering Dust.
Yes, sir. The Binge Volume 2. It's interesting because this tape, I believe, was released in 2007, but most of us didn't get it or listen to it until it popped up on YouTube around November 2015. So that's a bit of time. I know on the previous episode we did on the Binge One, where we talked about kind of the same situation. Hey, Binge One originally came out in like 2007,
Mhm.
but a lot of us didn't hear it till like later on. Charles had a surprise for us, or he was trying to surprise us, but then someone leaked it, and then he was like, you know what? All right, fuck it. Since y'all want to ruin the surprise, here you go. Binge One's out now. But Binge Two, it was just crazy because I was just like, I heard these super out of order
Mhm.
and I'm just like, damn, because if y'all don't know, Binge 3 came out like 2009, 2010. And so
Mhm.
it's just like it's crazy. And you kind of mentioned this before we even recorded this. It was like, yeah, it's scarce to find the Binge 2 because sometimes when you look up the Binge 2, Gathering Dust, the whole name, whatever,
Mhm.
Binge 1 pops up.
Yeah.
Or maybe Binge 3 pops up. So it's
Mhm.
just like what's going on with that, man? Like we definitely know what's out there, but I think because it came out so late at that time period that so many people just don't know about it. And they know it probably exists, just never heard of it.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head, man, when you said that I feel like everybody, for the most part, I would say probably 90, 95% of people just we heard this out of order because it goes from I remember, like I said, I remember Binge One was like one of my early tapes that I was like, "Ooh, I really like this tape or whatever." And then, like I said, 2009, 2010, Binge 3 comes out, and the first question I had was, "Oh, this is great, but where's 2?" And, like, no one like, I could not find the answer for years until, like you said, like, we just stumbled upon it on the internet. I was like, "Oh, shit. This is the actual number 2 that was missing for years." So, yeah, it's interesting, and like I said, it's trying to search for it is difficult because, like you said, you get 1, you get 3, you have to get real specific to get that second one, and, who made this playlist? Hamilton Project, has this listed as a playlist on their account or whatever, so shout out to them. Um, so with that being said, is this your first listen, or do you remember your first listen or not?
I This is not my first listen. I
Okay.
don't necessarily remember the first listen, but I
Mm,
know I've heard this tape before. I definitely there's songs that pop up and I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely heard this before. So, not my first listen. It's just crazy because for me, this is how it was. I think I heard Binge 3 first,
mhm.
and Binge 3, it's called the last Charles Hamilton mixtape. So it's like,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna hear the Binge Volume 3, and it's gonna be the last mixtape. Didn't even get to hear one or two because
Yeah.
I heard three, one, and then two. So my first time ever hearing it was like 2015 when it came on YouTube. But from what I remember being like, all right, cool. I
Mm,
didn't have too much of an opinion on it because I like going back to tapes that I missed, but since it was so far then, where it's like, okay, 2015, 2016 when I heard it, but the music's from 2007, I'm like, I try to talk about things like with a grain of salt if it's been that long, because it's like, oh man, it sounds like this and that. It's like, well, it came out in 2007 and it sounds like a 2007 tape. So
mhm.
I just remember being like, all right, well, I heard it. That's cool. But
Yeah.
other than that, not much. I really didn't have too much of an opinion on it. I'm like, well, I finally got to hear it. That was the big takeaway. I finally got to hear it. So cool. What about you?
Yeah, I remember when I first stumbled upon it, I was like, "Okay, finally, it's kinda like a holy grail type of situation, buried treasure." Like, you never think you're gonna listen to the tape, and then you finally get to it, and you're like, "Okay, cool, I'm excited to listen to it." I remember taking a couple songs away. Yeah, and then I was looking at the rest of the tape, I was like, "Oh, I've heard a lot of these," due to, like, those old, bonus and unreleased tapes that used to pop up, or, the random fan-made tapes that people had, like, some unreleased stuff of their own and kind of put it together. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I still like the songs, but it's like there was a plan for this that got stunted or like got stopped for some reason or whatever. So I was like, I'm like you. It's like it's cool. I didn't remember it as a full project, so today's review is probably great to kind of review it as itself as a project versus remember it as individual songs put together.
So I have a question, and this could be for anybody to answer, especially Charles.
Hmm.
So the tape's called The Binge Volume 2, Gathering Dust.
Hmm.
Was that the purpose to actually have it and then not put it out for a while, let it actually gather dust so no one really got to hear it? Then you finally get to hear it. And it's kind of like the old school, like, oh, I remember this tape. You blow everything off it, blow the dust off it, just like,
Hmm.
oh, put this on the record player, put it in the CD player, you know what I mean? To give it that type of like feel to it? Was it supposed to be like lost media and then rediscovered? You know what I mean? Because sometimes people do that like artificially, where it's like, hey, I have this and I'm not going to put this out for a long time. Also, you made a good point. Some of these songs might have been on bonus and unreleased. Maybe some of them got leaked. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, what was the actual plan? Or was it just supposed to come out and like you said, it just didn't,
Yeah.
So just a really just an interesting thing because sometimes it could be a really good thing, like, oh, this is vintage.
Hmm.
And we know how fashion is and everything else. Sometimes something could get aged horribly, and then it's just like, this probably was really good when it came out, but now we're so far ahead of that. We're so past
Yeah.
that. And it also reminds me of, let's say in certain RPGs like Final Fantasy, right?
Mhm.
Let's say, because some of the stuff is linear, then there's other stuff you can do. It's like if you did the beginning part, you did like a time skip and skipped over something else, defeated a bunch of these big bosses. It's like, oh, you didn't go get this key yet. And it's like, oh, that key was like early in the game. You can go back and go get it. And it's so easy. But it's like, oh, you got this nice shiny sword. But that sword was like meant for the early beginning of the game. So now
Yeah.
it's kind of, don't want to say this tape's useless, but it's like, it's kind of like it was meant for a certain point in time. Now it's not. So you can take it with you if you want, but now, do you really need it? So interesting thought process. Something I just had in my head about that.
It almost becomes like a collector's item more so if anything, right? Like, you just, like you're using your, RPG example, like Final Fantasy, whatever. It's like, we'll just use Final Fantasy 7 as an example. Cloud starts with a Buster Sword. Everybody likes the Buster Sword. It's an iconic sword. Once you get past, like, the first certain levels and you're like, "Oh, this sword is way better," it's like, you can keep the Buster Sword, but, like, you never use it again, right? It's just like, it's nice to have. It's nice to be like, "Oh, remember I had to look at my collection. I have all the swords or whatever," but it's like, it's just there to just be there or whatever.
Right.
Um, I like your analogies too, as far as, like, it could possibly be at the situation where it's like, this was meant to be like a lost tape or whatever. That way somebody discovers it. It's like, "Oh, cool." And maybe that's what happened. Maybe somebody finally was like, "All right, Imma just put this out, and then Imma just have the cover or whatever, and whatever, do whatever they're supposed to do with it." So that's another huge possibility. Um, do you know if I forgot what the game is. I've seen it on a bunch of lists or whatever, but there's this game that has, like, there's a special code or, like, a special thing you're supposed to do in the game, and you're supposed to figure out a code within the game. And then once you find the code, it gives you a specific location in the world. I want to say it's somewhere in, like, San Francisco. I don't know where it is really. We'll just use San Francisco as the point. And you're supposed to wait a certain amount of time to go there and uncover what the secret is. But it's not until, like hundreds of years down the line. So two things. One, no one's gonna go back to that game and be like, "Yo, I'm about to play this game to find out the code." And two, I'm gonna be dead. Yeah, I'm gonna be dead. No one's ever gonna find that code. Whoever created that for that game is a moron. They're gonna be dead. They're not even gonna know the super. It's stupid. Like, it's dumb. I just had to get that out.
Yeah, I got you. I'll make it real quick. I've seen stuff like that where developers they'll do something where it's like, oh, it's going to be a really interesting idea, and then when the payoff finally comes out, someone will finally find it, not us, because like I said, we'll be dead, but it'll be someone else will find it. It's like, hey, remember that code from like 100 years ago? Well, we were old enough to be able to take care of it. Yeah, it ended up just being an empty bottle saying thanks for playing. It's like, okay,
Bro, I would be sick. Sick. What if you, like, froze yourself, like, in, like, people are paying to, like, freeze themselves to be melted in the future, and, like, then you did that and you spent $650,000 just to fucking get a bottle that says, "Hey, yo, thanks for playing, bro." That's disgusting.
yeah, it wouldn't feel good, would not feel good at all.
Oh, man. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna go through the tape, song by song, because I feel like we talked about it. One of them we've listened to before. Ironically, we'll get to it. It was on the original binge, um, and another one which is an instrumental basically. But we'll still talk about that. So the tape starts off with attention.
So this song, Attention, I feel like it grabbed the right attention. Um, the way the beat starts and how the song starts, for me, it reminds me of like an intro and an outro. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like how the song just sounds. It sounds like one of those the best way to explain a song where hey, the whole process of this album project, whatever you want to call it, was grueling. It was difficult. We had our bumps, we had our snags in the road, whatever. There's some delays, some setbacks, but we finally got it out here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for taking this journey with us, or whatever. Here it is. And sometimes songs like that, they could be the intro where it's like, hey, this is how I'm going to introduce the tape. And then also it could be the outro too, where it's like, hey, you guys, this is what we did to go through this or whatever. So thank you guys for coming along with the ride. So I think it's a really good intro. I want to say, I guess Shalik made the beat, whatever. Like, I think on certain songs like this, whenever Charles is shouting out Shalik, it's like he'll put a little extra on it just to let y'all know, like, hey, Shalik, what was, the whole faculty, helped out faculty music. Like I said, beats dope. How it started, I didn't know how it was going to go in because at first I'm like, oh, the beat's going to be this like really crazy and hard, and then it kind of goes like into like a little like smooth R&B, peaceful type of, and then Charles is still rapping on it where he's like got a little bit of aggression and he's got that edge to him, so it works
Mhm.
out. Hook's dope. I like the hook. Um, and then just like it just goes back and forth. Overall, just a really good song. I like how the song or how this song starts off this project.
Yeah, it's okay. It's it didn't pick up for me until like after the first verse because I remember listening to it originally. I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I like this one." And then I listened to it a couple more times over the week, and I did a final listen this morning, and I was like, again, right up until that first verse, I was like, I don't know. And then I listened to the last two verses. I was like, okay, it's growing on me a little bit more, or whatever. Like I said, it's a good intro, solid intro. Kind of sets the table for this smorgasbord of different type of songs again. Um, I'm gonna ask you again later. Is this kind of another example of like him trying to divvy up different styles or whatnot or whatever. But as an intro, it's okay. The hook's really good. I do like the hook. I think that's really what kind of got me, back and got me focused on the actual song, pay attention, if you will. But yeah, solid effort on the intro. Come around is next. This is just Charles having fun with with a reggaeton type beat. I feel like this is a beat that's by somebody, right?
It is. I can't remember the name of the actual person that actually had this beat. I can tell you this. I remember it was like, so we would have been in high school, like 2006 or something like that.
Mhm.
BET, be on the TV. I heard the original song, and I'm like, bro, like, I hate this song. Like, it's not even like it's a bad song, but I was like, I hate this song.
Oh, welcome the
Everybody,
Jamrock.
no, well, it was a 2005, 2006. It was point in time where like Damian Marley Jr. and all of
Yeah,
them, Collie, I think it's Collie Buds or something like that did this song. I
yeah,
forget, but just all of them songs. I'm like, bro. Oh, and then you had Game with One Blood. He had One Blood and the One Blood
yeah,
remix where like
yeah,
30 rappers on one song, 12 minutes. So, like, I was like, bro, like I don't mind the reggae aspect of music, but I'm like when it started getting overdone at that point, I think that's why I was just like, all right. So, but nah, with this, like I said, Charles having fun with it. It's just him basically just freestyling on it. Um, we don't always get to hear Charles on certain songs like this, and when he does, he's very selective, but he usually does a good job with them. Um, I'm trying to think. There's like that one freestyle he had that was on like a beat like that came out like when he was signing Republic. I think it was My Baby Mama's an Alien or something like that. I forget what the actual song's called, but he says something like that in the song and
yeah,
freestyles the whole thing, and it's pretty cool. Along with this song is pretty cool too.
yeah.
So sometimes we need a little bit more reggae Charles when the time's right. He doesn't overdo it, doesn't overstay his welcome. Cool freestyle. So I like the song.
Yeah, I've always liked the song. It's a style, he does a really good job. Uh, This is again during that time where it's very clear that he's writing or whatever. Because he actually mentions it. It's funny with him, it's like, whether he's writing or he's like he tells you it's off the dome, he will tell you. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's going to let you know one way or the other, and it's always been funny. But he does a good job with this one. Like I said, it's I like the contrast of his rapping style and just that reggaeton like sound or whatever. He does a really good job with that. Um, very, very confident that he's like, I'm doing this in one take. I'm on my one take shit. I believe he did it that way, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it's short. It's short and to the point, just clocks under 3 minutes. So, yeah, it's a good record. I like this one. Um, Before we get into the next song, the cover. How you feel about that?
Interesting cover. I'm I wonder if this was the original cover that they had for like 2007, or
Mhm,
was it like a cover that was done by another artist or another StarCHaser or whoever later
mhm.
on? Because you know how we've talked about before, certain projects Charles would have where like there would be like a simple cover and then someone will remake it, or sometimes like it might be music that is already there, but oh, there's not really a cover for it. And then someone's like, all right, well, here we go. Here's the cover. You know what I mean? Because when you sing the Binge one, right? It's like Binge one staring at the lava lamp, so I think it's like a pink cover, there's a pink lava lamp, whatever. Very
Yep.
simple. So how do you how do you explain, okay, so this is the binge two, gathering dust, it has like some this the scribbles and the art like that where, it kind of fits there. I see where they're going with it overall. And then you have like, I don't know if that's Werewolf Sonic that I guess is supposed to be on
I
there.
thought so.
I figured, so I'm like, well, it fits with the Sonic theme, you know what I mean? Because that's Charles. At the same time, I'm like, I get it. I'll say this. I remember it. If you say the tape, I remember it. So like in that aspect, it's memorable. You know what I mean? But maybe in other aspects, maybe it's not. But how do you feel about it?
Well, now that you mention it, I'm just trying to remember something really quick because then this will first of all, the cover to me, I like the cover. It's very unique. It's very like you said, it's very distinct. You say the name of the tape, you remember what it looks like. So that's cool. Um no, see that's weird. The binge series is just the covers are just everywhere. Like I said, the first one is the lava lamp. This one has Sonic on it looking nuts, like he just went through a binge. And then the third one is just 3 cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, so I mean, sometimes I guess after you go through a binge, you might be hungry. So it's
fair,
just like the burgers, you feel me? So maybe,
fair.
maybe.
It's out there. Imma just say that. But yeah, I like the cover. I was like you, I think it was like Werewolf Sonic supposed to kinda, dictate that type of vibe to it or whatever. So, very unique. Maybe doesn't connect with the title of the tape, but as far as, like, actual, like, aesthetic of the tape, it's up there for me. I do like this a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
The Come Down is the next track that's here, and as we alluded to, this is just an instrumental. This is an instrumental. There's no bars on this tape or on this song at all. Um, I'll say this, though I don't know why it's here. I will say this definitely sounds like it could have been on a placement in like some type of video game level. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It has that eerie, but like type of I probably a first person shooter, maybe like a side scroller.
I would say, because it kind of has like a sci-fi feel to it, like a spacey feel to it. So if it's going
Hmm.
to be like let's say a first-person shooter, right? Something like Time Splitters, you feel me? Because Time Splitters takes in different time places or whatever.
Yep.
You have like the regular guns, then you have like the little sci-fi ones, and just
Hmm.
a bunch of different stuff. So, it was going to be something out of space. I feel like out of space field. This like I feel like some of the sounds in there just like out of this world, basically. But like you said, this is just an instrumental. This is the Come Down, the instrumental for this
Hmm.
song. Not the actual project, the Come Down that was reviewed. So if that is out by this point, that episode, check it out. But yeah, it's the Come Down. It is weird that this is like not at the end, because you know how some projects Charles will be like, okay, here's a project and here's this instrumental at the end that might
Yeah.
or might not deal with the actual project.
Hmm.
It might not be an instrumental to like some song I did earlier. It's just not even it's right. It's a third song, so it's like, oh, okay, so it's there.
Third song is such an interesting take because like I don't know about you, and first listen, it's like you're listening and you're like first minute, you're like, okay, he's done songs where he just doesn't rap for the first minute. Then you get like minute two, and you're like, yo, bro, oh, he's not gonna say anything, is he? And then you get to the full song, and he doesn't say anything. So it's just a weird placement, and kind of like you kind of wish sometimes he just put like parentheses instrumental parentheses.
True, I could understand that more just because the conversation we had before, where there's a song called "The Come Down" on a different tape, and then this is the instrumental "The Come Down," which has nothing to do with that project, the Come Down. You know what I mean? So in situations like that, I don't know if he knows that he's like done that multiple times, because once you have so many songs, you want to make them so unique, and he has some very unique titles. But I
Mhm.
wonder if he's ever been like, yeah, I'm gonna name this one "The Come Down." Wait, have I done that already? Nah, nah, I haven't. Wait, I think I no, no, the project. This is the song though. Maybe
Yeah,
whatever. I'm just going to name it to come down.
yeah.
And just he's just like whatever. Just going to name it that.
But as an instrumental, I think it's good. Like I said, Metroid is probably what I would have said. Metroid has that type of vibe too. I think would be really dope for there.
Yeah.
Cuddle Monster.
Hey, pretty mama, you said you want your own song, so I got ya. Every word in the song is about ya. I am oh so happy that I got ya. After a long day, you roll up my ganja, and you play me in a quick game of Contra. Girl, I just wanna be your monster, not just any monster, your own cuddle monster. Come on.
So I'll let you take the floor on this because you definitely hyped this up on one of our previous playlist episodes. It didn't make it on there, but you
I did do
definitely
that.
were like, "Yo, I wanted this on there." So go ahead.
I like the song, man. I like the beat. I like what he's doing with the raps. I think it's a fun loving song. Like there's nothing it puts you in a good mood to me. Like it's if you ever like need a song that's like, from Charles that where you just want to be put in a positive mood, I feel like this is the one. And he's silly because he's like, what does he say in the song? He says,
And I wonder how the ladies gon' feel when they find out I did the song to be appealing. For real.
line is just he's just funny. He's acting jovial. And I think it's Charles at his best, man. We just trying to have fun and just being silly or whatever. And music, the good music comes from it. And I like the song a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It's basically like you said, it's a good feeling song. And basically for you, it's like Charles coming up and giving you a big hug from behind, and you enjoying the embrace. And hey, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm a chill. Sorry, pause. Yeah. So you see what you did in the earlier episode, early on. So
Mhm.
I can keep this going for the rest of the episode. So if you want to call it truce, we can call it truce now, unless you want to keep me going.
I
So.
thought you said you were letting the bus pass. You letting the bus pass,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I let the bus pass, and guess
Did you
what?
pick up on the second bus?
Yes, I did. I let the first bus pass. 15 minutes has passed, so it'd be dope if 15 minutes actually passed while this episode has passed. Probably not,
That
but
would
if
be
it
kind of
did,
crazy.
if it did, yo, I'm a fucking beast. But anyway, no, it's a real shit though. It is a feel good song. Definitely a feel good song. Um, it reminds me because how it starts like a hip hop lullaby because you hear it and it's kind of
Mhm.
like something that I would say just the beat itself you can play for like a young child or an infant whatever and just they have the little like toy that's circling around them just a really good feeling song. Um, Great verses, the flow is great, the hook's really good. I think it's the best when how Charles just lets uh, the instrumental sing for itself. And then when he
Mhm.
gets to that last part, he joins in and sings. You know what I mean? And just it, like you said, really good time, really good fun song, whatever. Overall, just enjoyable song. So I would say this is probably one of the best songs on the tape.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of those ones that I end up playlisting like immediately when I heard it. Free balling. Would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
Yeah, for free balling, I'll go ahead and go first. And
Okay.
yo, this is gonna be the AO episode for real. So, um, one of the comments I have are just about the song. Hey yo, my thing is this, right? So this is basically a remix to "We Fly High" by Jim
Mhm.
Jones. I call this the comic relief of the tape. Like it's not meant to be taken serious at all. Like
Mhm.
literally, I think that's Charles on the first verse, literally rapping. Whoever it is literally rapping just like Jim Jones in that tone of voice. Jones, couple status, doing that whole thing. You feel me?
Spooky.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, yo. Like number one, that's like Jim Jones' like most popular song. It's like the most famous beat ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in this song, period, because it's him. I think that Shalik on the second verse is like, yo, Shalik rapping? Oh shit. So you could just tell literally the whole time they're just having a blast, enjoying the song. And, like I said, it's not meant to be taken seriously. Like if someone's like, hey, this isn't really one of my favorite songs, it's like understandable. But
Mhm.
please don't critique this as like, yeah, Charles really didn't rap his ass. I was like, bro, this is not meant to be like that. It's literally meant to just be a funny song. Like they took balling and said free balling, and then like
Mhm.
almost every lyric is about like their balls hanging out or they got nuts hanging and the fucking hairs are showing and all that. And it's just like, bro, like it's just a funny thing. Like, who is it? Weird Al Yankovic that used to do like
Yeah.
the cover, the spoofs and whatnot. Like, it's
Mhm.
literally this. They just did their own version. Right at the end of the song, you hear them like the song goes off, whatever, and then everybody's just laughing, just like Like this is a stupid song, but it's a funny stupid song. So overall, it's something that I don't normally listen to, but like it's for a good laugh. I definitely like listen to the song just because it's just silly. So
You know how like there are songs where you heard it and it comes on and you're like, I can't listen to the song. This is this is that song for me. Like I feel like if I could come up with a list, this would be like in that top list where I was like, bro, I never want to listen to this song. I remember I can't remember where I heard it first on. It might have been on like an old the Mev tape, maybe the Flame Script tape. Maybe it was it might have been.
okay,
Um, and I heard that I was like, "Oh, dog, ain't no way they did this song, bro. There's just no way." But you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like you said, this is meant to be a joke song. There's no way that this was meant to be a serious song. And so, from that perspective, it's kind of hard to critique because it's like on from a song's perspective, it's like I would never listen to this. But from a perspective of we're making fun or like we're joking on a song like this, oh, they nailed that. They nailed it. It's a spoof song. So they succeeded in that. But I'll be okay if I never listen to this song again.
understandable. Because for me, like when I was trying to like get more viewers and subscribers on my YouTube channel, my own personal YouTube channel, especially
Mhm,
back then. That's what you did. Sometimes you would like do a freestyle to a song, and then sometimes like, oh well, I'll just do a funny version because sometimes those just blow up more. We've seen that like throughout the years, like someone
mhm.
just doing like a remix. I know one of my popular remixes I did to what was it? Drake and Future, Jumpman,
Mhm.
like that song that went like crazy when it came out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna make a remix rapping like Mario because he's the original Jumpman. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like people catch on to that. Oh, I like it because yo, you're spitting bars, but it's funny too. And sometimes that's how you get an audience. So sometimes you gotta like, you might have to chop off your foot a little bit just to get ahead, just to hop along. You feel me? So it is what it is.
Yeah. You just don't want to get pigeonholed in being the rap funny guy if that's not your goal. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And that's the one thing where you just have to be careful with that. And of course, Charles doesn't normally do that on songs. Like he'll
Right.
have fun on songs, but he won't just like, I guess, take the entire piss out of it. You feel me? It's just like, yo, just
Mhm.
this is just that one song. We're joking, relax. Y'all already know. After this, we get back to the real shit. So
And he follows that up with Heaven Only Knows, which is a John Legend flip, basically, from the actual same song. Um, I like this song. This is another one that I playlisted. I like this song. Um, man, Charles in relationships, bro. Like it just they all seem to end like or have the same qualities and like events that happen and where he ends up cheating on somebody. At least in the early days or whatever. Um and it's funny because like the way he's storytelling is like, yo, bro, like, yeah, I know I cheated, but like, let it go. I'm like, wait, what? No. You can't just ask her to let it go after you just detailed it in a great 16. Like that's kind of difficult, bro. That's not how that works. And then he does like the singing of the old John Legend song, the one he got famous off of. Uh
ordinary people,
Take it.
I think.
Yes, thank you. Ordinary people. Thank you. So that was a cool little added in there too. So yeah, I like this song.
So how I feel about the song, I overall just said it's okay. It's an
Yeah.
okay song. The thing for me, when we talk about free balling, right? With free balling, of course, you just know it's a joke. So it's like, yo, it's whatever. With this, I think how Charles started it, and not even the singing, because like he wasn't like going too crazy with the singing, like he was trying to be too funny.
Hmm.
He definitely was like, doing the hey, I'm gonna sing a little out of tune just because hey, I'm a rapper and this and that, but he
Hmm.
wasn't trying to be like annoying about it. Just like, hey, just I'm gonna carry on this way.
Yeah.
I feel like in the beginning he was kind of like shitting on the song a little bit, like kind of being a little too jokey with it.
Hmm.
And like when I hear the original song, Heaven Only Knows by John Legend, I'm like, oh, it's a really nice song. It's a really beautiful song. And then
Yeah.
maybe because how Charles treated it, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm cheating and all that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ah man, like I just expected a little bit something different, you know what I mean? But I think later on he cleaned it up and then it got better as it gone on. But
Yeah.
it was like I think maybe if he took a different approach, I probably would have liked it more. Maybe that's just what it is for me. But probably the best thing about it, because song ends, he's singing on there, and then don't know who it was, but then someone I guess cut on the AC at the end of the song,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Yo, you fucking dickhead! Why'd you cut that on? Now it's going to be at the end of the song." I don't know if it actually like if we can hear it like where it's like at the end of the hook or something,
Mhm.
or if it was just like right at the end when the song cut off. Because at least at
Yeah.
that point, it's like, well, y'all could have just cut that part off. But it's like still, it's really annoying when you're supposed to have everyone quiet in the room. You're supposed to be recording and you're supposed to just keep it a certain way because obviously if it gets fucked up, you gotta do another retake.
Mhm.
If you ever done like music or even like for example us doing podcasts, if you ever had to do a retake of something, it's just like redoing a 16 is like, yeah, I just wasted 45 seconds, whatever, it is what it is. But having to redo a whole song, let's say if you did that in one take,
Yeah.
oh man, it's like, yo, fuck it, I guess we're keeping this then. But overall the song is okay for me. I'm like, it's all right, it's okay. So
Yeah. Um, Totally forgot about this one, and the fact that it's a full song, and it kind of it's like a. We've talked about how old school back in the day, 2007, 2008, you could basically be like, oh, this is a remix with Charlton remix, but it's still the original song or whatever. Icebox remix. Charles adds two verses on here, and then keeps like Omarion's first verse, his hook, and then the hook again. I believe is how it goes.
yeah.
Um, how'd you feel about this one? This is probably the one I'm most interested in hearing from you about.
So when it comes to the original, I do like the original song, Icebox,
Mhm,
right? So when you will say, "Hey, I'm going to do a remix of this," where I'm basically just going to add a verse or two
mhm,
and then keep the original song, it's one of those things where I overall for me, the song is not for me. I'm gonna just say that right now.
mhm,
Now, the reason why it's not for me because I've heard other people do this before, like on regular mixtapes where other people have like I could be wrong. I feel like I heard like LL Cool J do a remix to like Icebox or something like that.
mhm.
I can't remember, but I've seen other rappers do this before where like they'll put up 16 and it's like, okay, here's my 16, boom, Omarion sings, and that's just the rest of the song. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's definitely a product of its time where it's like, bro, that's what you did in 2006, 2007.
Yep.
Yo, I really want to make a song, but I really ain't got much. Let me just put a 16 on something real quick and then just add it on and boom. That used to be like an easy way to get songs out there because I used to do stuff like that. But
Mhm.
then YouTube started catching on like 2010, where it's like, okay, this is actually really someone else's song. Content ID, you're not going to get a strike, or you might get a strike. So
Yeah.
no more of that. YouTube definitely like shut that down completely. So I'm even surprised this is still even up, because I think I did a song like that for French Montana. YouTube said no, and I think it was French Montana that actually took it down because my verse is fire, and we know how French Montana raps. So just saying,
Yo,
um,
why you taking shots at Frenchie?
because he deserves it. You know what I mean?
Yo.
My man put what was it, Mac and Cheese 5. I seen some video that said he put his album out like 20 times where he had a regular version, the slow down version, the sped up version, the instrumental version, and that man still only sold like triple brick or some shit like that. So it's like, hey, that's my revenge. You feel me? You're welcome. But anyway, uh nah, but overall it's just like I just feel like overall Charles had some decent bars in there. Like I just didn't add enough for me to want to listen to it because it's one of those things where if someone's going to do that to a remix where they're just adding on verses, it's like, all right, well, is this going to make me want to listen to this more than the actual version? Because if it's not, it's like that's what I consider. Oh, it might not be as great as a remix. You know what I mean? But a lot of people done it. You know what I mean? But it's just for me, it's definitely not for me. So I would probably say this is the one song I would probably skip every time when we listen to this
Got it.
project. I'm like, I heard it once. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And then after that, I listened to it a couple times for this, but after this, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'd rather just listen to the original. And overall, this is just how I feel about it.
I think it's one of those songs where it's a novelty. Like, I think if at least should listen to it once, right? I think like, oh, this is a big song. during its time, and Charles decided to, add his verses on there. So I think it's definitely something that if you're a Star Chaser, definitely go listen to it once, and then you determine how many more times you listen to it after that, right? For me, I'm like you. It's like he had the potential to be like, this is my quintessential version of this song. Like, if I want to listen to Icebox, I'm listening to this version because I like what Charles did on the verses. And it's not that I don't like what he did on the verses. It doesn't add anything to the song. You know what I'm saying? So I also think that I don't know how much I like that song anymore. I
Just just
I
the regular
love that
song.
song when it
You
came
mean,
out,
yeah,
but now it's like the song's kind of annoying, kind of, just a little, just a little. I mean, it's not Touch. You feel me?
that's crazy. Touch is infinitely better than Icebox. That's
Right?
my opinion. That's
Like,
my opinion.
to me, it's easy. It's like not even a contest, honestly. Now I did hear, like, I remember you told me that you were pop locking when you heard it when you listened to this song. You was like, you were doing all the Omarion moves. You were telling me that. Would you like to
Yo,
demonstrate them on camera?
so it's the fact that you left out the part where I had my shirt off in the freezing rain, and like my 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 chest was just popping in and out, and my heart was flying everywhere
Yeah.
around my head, you know what I mean? And then like
Right.
it fell on the ground, I had to pick it up, and then I was like Booker T, because I was like, no, yes, can you dig it, sucker?
Right.
Sticker T, can you dig it, sticker T?
Sticker T is
Yeah, sticker T.
insane.
That's you right there.
Sticker T is insane.
Shucky ducky quack quack.
I do like that phrase though. That's a fun phrase.
I'm not even gonna lie, that is fire.
It's a fun phrase. But after I'm done, with that, I'm coming for the gold. Mike Jackson, I'm coming for you, nigga.
Can't believe you. Can't believe you just said that.
That's the
Oh
greatest
man.
promo of all time.
You're gonna see me on the side of a building on a bus with black spray paint, and
And
I would definitely not take the side of Hulk Hogan
no.
ever at all. So I'm gonna just leave that at that. So
Yeah, no, he lost all types of anything. I get it. You helped the wrestling boom, but you are a terrible person, Terry. In a Jam is next. We've already talked about In a Jam. We like the verses, great verses. It was on the original Binge, so that's why I kind of wondered what happened between this one and the second one, because like, why did this one like somehow travel from 1 to 2?
yeah, it is pretty interesting with that. And for me, I also skip this song, not because I don't like it, but when I think of it for Binge 1. So I'm like, if I want to listen to it, I'd rather just listen to it on Binge 1, not on Binge 2,
Sure.
So, and I know we've seen that before where songs have came out as solo songs and then they got to other tapes, but this is not that. It was
Yeah.
on the Binge 1
Yeah.
and then I put on Binge 2. Maybe it's just a error. Like, hey, did I put this on Binge 1? I don't know. Just put it on there anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. On the Road is next though. Really love this song. I've always loved this song. I think I love the hook. The hook is just, it's kind of inspirational, man. Everybody got problems. Lord knows we all got them. Dry your eyes and get ready to go. Get the show on the road. It's very inspirational, that hook or whatever. The verses are great. That second verse is hilarious when he has the full conversation with Nate, and how Nate's like, "Yo, dog, you didn't tell me you had a show, dumbass nigga." It's just funny. Just listen to that. And then just like kind of think about that third verse too, where it's like some real shit he's talking, like about being on being homeless and trying to going through the things he's going through or whatever. So it's the beat is so upbeat that you kind of ignore that he's kind of talking some real shit like in that third verse. But I really love this record. It's like one of my favorites on the tape.
But when you do it as good as I do, you would want to do the music shit till you die too. Hey, Common, I heard that reality bites too, so I bit the bitch back, gave her something to vibe to. Ain't nobody got time to hear about your problems. Lord knows we all got them. Dry your eyes and get ready to go. Let's get the show on the road. I said, ain't nobody got time to hear about your problems. Lord knows we all got them.
really good tape. Well, really good record. So it's for me. We had Heaven Only Knows, where I'm like, that's okay. Icebox wasn't for me, and a Jam it's another repeat. So when we hear this song, I'm like, oh, it brings the tape back up. Okay, we're back in business. Reminds me of like when you have like a Monday morning, or it could even be a Wednesday, where you got to get up and you're like, oh, man, and you already know like you got a bunch of stuff to do, and it's like, yo, doesn't matter. Let's get the show on the road, like the song says. Let's
Mm.
get it going. Charles talks about like a lot of the bullshit that happens in life and music, the business, whatever, but all that doesn't matter because when you get on the stage and you got to perform, or even let's say for us, we got our own personal problems, but guess what? When the camera comes on and we got to do this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
we gotta be as jovial and critiquing and informational and educational as possible.
Yeah.
So it's definitely real life issues that he's talking about, but at the same time, like just real life solutions. Like sometimes it's just like, yo, you just gotta deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just another day, another dollar. We gotta go through it. I do agree with you with the young Nate impression. Hey yo, B, at a show, nobody told me. Hey yo, B. I'm like, does Nate say hey yo, B that much? And then he had the little diss about Jamaris. You could tell that definitely annoyed Charles because like for him to
Yeah.
like he could have said anything, but it's like, oh yeah, fuck Jamaris and this and that. Charles definitely probably felt away like, yo, man, don't you can say whatever about me, but hey, yo, don't leave her out of it. You feel me?
Yeah.
But overall, really good song. One of my favorites on the tape as well.
One more AOB and I'm gonna snuff this motherfucker.
Like, damn.
0 to 100 real quick. He was the original Drake. Ready when you are. That's crazy. Ready when you are. The immediate question I have for you, two questions. One, did you feel like this was an incomplete song? And two, who was supposed to sing that part in the middle, in between the verses and the bridge and the hook?
You know what? Thinking about it now, I kind of see what you mean. Like, it does sound like it could be an incomplete song. Just because there are that's probably like my only pet peeve about the song, because like there's
Mhm.
certain spots where it's just sound like there's something missing, like you could have
Yep.
added more, and maybe not like with the verses, but
Mhm.
definitely I still like the song though, because
Yeah.
my thing is this. I think this might be my favorite instrumental on here. It's calming, it's peaceful, there's
Mhm.
that chill vibe and flow to it. Same thing with the verses and the hook, except for the parts that's missing, but maybe that was just Charles just letting it breathe. You know what I mean? Like, and this type of song, because I feel like that's the type of song it is. The title of the song, Ready When You Are. Sometimes when you're not, you gotta step back, take a breath, deep
Mhm.
breath. All right, let's go back into it. Let's talk about it. Let's do whatever we gotta do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. But I do know what you mean though. Um, I don't know who would be suited for the song though. Like if there was supposed to be like a R&B person on there or not, but it would have been interesting. One thing that would have sucked. Imagine I've never really had to do this because I don't really collaborate with people on my own music, but imagine you had somebody in mind, like, who would kill this? Yo, I'm gonna get homegirl from Blase Blah to sing on this, and then she's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'll do that. Cool. And then you hear on it, and then it's like, that was not what I expected. Delete. Just put the song out. For real. Sometimes that happens, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, damn, like, hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Deleted.
So when is this coming out? Eventually. I probably won't even call you. It'll just be a surprise. Um,
Oh, I figured it out. Crack the case, crack the code. The
oh
reason
boy.
why this took like 7, 8 years to come out because he deleted it and then he didn't want homegirl to get offended. So by that time when it actually came out, that's just like they're not even going to know. And then she might have probably heard like, "Hey, what happened to that?" I don't, man. The song was so old. We lost the version you were on, and
Uh-huh.
then we only had the original. So
Yeah.
I had to put it out like that. I'm so sorry because that's not what I wanted. We it was on my old laptop. It was on an old file. Someone stole it. Obviously, you know how time goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that version was dope though. Deleted.
What a shame. I like the song too. Like I said, the only knock is it does feel incomplete because he raps and then there's just that space of this emptiness where it's the instrumental, which is fine because the instrumental is nice. but you could definitely it's noticeable. And then he picks up with like a hook or like a bridge, and then it goes into a hook again. So that's the only thing that kind of knocks it. But like I said, I like the song. I like the verses. I like the hook. It's good for what it is. It could be better with whatever was supposed to be there, and that's kind of what holds it back from going just a little bit higher. Um, that reflective L.
I wouldn't know anything about it. I've
That
been
is
reflective on life, but I've never had
right.
that L. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, wait. I will say this:
Uh-huh.
metaphorically, symbolically,
Yeah.
I've taken some losses in my life, especially this year, and I had to reflect on that L.
Mhm.
So that's an L I've had to take. You know what I mean? And reflect on it. So I can embrace and understand that. But if we're talking about the reflective L, that
Mhm.
reflective L,
Yeah.
can't really speak on it. But
Right.
the song though. The song, fun song's nice. The beat has like a little fun feel to it, you know.
Mhm.
Verse is nice, catchy hook. It's a little difficult to understand, but you gotta sit there and listen to it because that's what makes it so reflective. You know what I
Right.
mean? Where they do like the little doubles and the double meanings,
Right.
and I like that part of it. For me, it kind of seems maybe a little incomplete too, because after like the first verse and the hook,
Yep.
then it's just like I remember listening to it, I'm like, oh, this might be just really that short where he's like, oh, let me just do one verse, hook,
Mhm.
out of there. Because I was like, oh, maybe that's what it is. And then you wait a bit, hook comes back in, and maybe that's where he was trying to get y'all to reflect, like, hey, I'm gonna give y'all some time because y'all might not have got it.
Right.
Now I'm gonna spit it again. Hopefully y'all understand it, you
Yeah.
know. So maybe that was the catch for that. But in my head, I'm like, oh, well, was there supposed to be a second verse? Don't know. Overall, still a fun song, still a good song.
Yeah. I'm like you. Listen, listen to the double flows, and the only thing I heard is never hit the same broad twice. I was like, you know what? Sure. It's like never wearing the same outfit twice. That's what it seemed. That's I just equated to that. But never hit the same broad twice in the same night. And I was like, okay, wait. I was like, wait. So then after a while, I was like, you know what? Okay, this is a good song. But that's a lot going on right now. But maybe I need that reflective L to be able to reflect on the doubleness they was doing, which is a mirror. It's a Spider-Man meme, two Spider-Mans staring at each other. You know what I'm saying? He was way ahead of his time again. He's killing it right now. But I like the song, man. I like the song.
Definitely. And I feel like he ends it by saying, well, just saying you can hit the same broad twice. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
what?
it's
What?
like, wait,
So,
what was
so
that for?
I was saying, you know, you never hit the same broad twice. You never, you know, use the same bar twice. You know what I mean? You know, but
Yeah,
you can do it just not on the same night. But if you was to hit the same broad that you and your man hit, you know what I mean? You can hit the same broad twice. Just saying, you can do it, but there's just certain ramifications and there's certain rules to it. It's just like I'll just stick to hitting it once. You know what I mean? I'll just hit it once and just call it a day.
but you can if you use the transitive property with the Pythagorean theorem, and then yeah, then you technically can double up, and that it gives you a free life, 100 coins, 100 rings, one up. You feel me? So you gotta make it work for you, man. That's what I got from that song.
Yeah, I mean that is a good message overall. Like
Yeah,
in life, you just have to make it work for you
yeah,
because
make it
if it's
work for
not
you.
working for you, why aren't you trying to make it work for you? You know?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Yo, never spit the same bar twice, twice. Never hit the same bar twice, twice. Never hit the same broad twice. If you hit the same broad, hit the same broad twice that night. If you hit the same broad and the same broad that your man hit, then the same broad lights. Be the same broad that you met when you hit the same bar twice. I'm saying y'all can hit the same broad twice. Yeah.
This is Charles Hamilton going hard.
So this is a really interesting title. I will say this: I feel the title does match the song well.
Mm-hmm.
Because number one, the energy he has. If you guys don't know, that's the Warrior remix, Lloyd Banks. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
that beat. So I'm like, all right, cool. You know, and you can't go on that song and just like not snap
Yeah.
because if I remember, so it's Lloyd Banks, you know what I mean? Everybody knows Punchline King, Lloyd Banks, as we call himself. Then you had 50 Cent on there. He was still, hot. He was still on fire. And then you had Eminem on there too. So it's just like, I think Nate Dogg did the hook, RIP Nate Dogg. But when you're someone like Lloyd Banks or whoever, bro, like when you have heavy hitters on a song, you don't want to be the person that has the weakest verse. So it's like,
Right.
everybody's got to bring their A game. And then even though Charles isn't doing a remix like that to it, where he's just rapping on it, it's like you can't come out with no whack freestyle, no whack verse. So you gotta go hard on the song.
Yeah.
And this is like one of those classic, like, I'm gonna just do a freestyle to someone's song. And he was like, he had to do a bunch of takes and he's going to make sure he gets it right. I'm just stepping in the booth right now. He wanted to make sure y'all heard his footsteps.
Yeah.
I just stepped in here. You know what I mean? I think he did a great job. And my favorite thing, I haven't heard this in a while, but this is a thing that I felt like it was just like it was a thing that was just done back then. You would just like spit some type of bar, and then right when you end your verse, you have to say motherfucker. You have to say motherfucker at the end. You know what I mean? You gotta say it because it's
That's
just like
that's the period.
yeah, basically that's the period, exclamation mark. That's just that's the stamp on it. Like, yo, that's the end of the verse. You know what I mean? And then you gotta talk to shit after that. Like you basically just like spit on someone's grave, and then you gotta like walk it dry and all that. And that's just like So Charles definitely did go hard on this song. So this is one of those type of songs where I'm like, okay, it's not like the original. It's different, but it's still good. I would still listen to this anytime it came on. So really good remix. So.
Yeah, this is good. I would say it's my surprise pick of the tape. Just because it's not something that I commonly bring up or like I'm reminded of. Especially just with the naming convention, like no one's gonna be like, what if somebody's like, yo, this is Charles Hamilton going hard? It's like, oh, I've never heard this song. It just kind of seems the way his title is just it's interesting. But like I say, he's going hard on the beat, going crazy. Um, and like you said, the energy just matches the beat because he just comes in with a tantrum, as he stated, and he has to get some shit off his chest, and then he continues it as after he's done rapping, like I said, talking your shit afterwards, which you have to do back in 2007 because that's just how that works, right? I What was interesting when he was talking to shit is that you know if somebody tells me I'm not nice again, then I'm Kramer to y'all. Fuck y'all niggas. And I got old again because like there's a host of people who have no idea what that means.
Yeah, it's crazy because like when I heard and back then like you could say bars like that, or whatever, and it's just like, yo, you already got the punchline because like
Mm,
we already saw it in the news, we already saw what happened or whatever,
yeah,
and then like when you kind of think about it, it's just like, you know what I mean? Because some of that stuff is just like some of those bars don't age well because it's just like, oh man, I forgot that Kramer. Because when people that watch Seinfeld, it's like, oh, Kramer was a cool character. And then you kind of go back and like, Kramer was racist. He's a piece of shit. Fuck Kramer.
right,
But that's just how those bars went. Where it's just like, yo, I don't like you niggas. I'm Kramer. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Or whatever the case is. And I'm like, damn, but that's definitely something that Charles wanted to make sure people knew. He always said that in songs, especially early in his career. Yo, I'm nice. I'm nice as shit. Yo, I'm the nicest, whatever. You know what I mean? And people really not trying to give him his props. That definitely, you got to fight for yours. And that was definitely Charles showing that he would scrap for his.
I like the way it ends too because it makes it seem like somebody trying to pull him out the booth and trying to be like, "Yo, calm down," which is the perfect way to lead into the final track, "Trouble." I think this is probably after thinking it over and after listening to the tape again, this might be my favorite of the tape
Oh,
because
wow.
I think how do I put this? This is masterful storytelling to me, right? Like when Charles is like really deep into his like storytelling bag, I can see everything. Like you know how we always say like, "Oh, I see the video to this." I see the video to this, right? I see him as a kid. I see him growing up in the classroom and like, I just see it over and over. And I can see every bar has like a visual to it or whatever. And just hearing him talk about, growing up and like his dad and like, how he just, how he viewed trouble and just the way he's approaching trouble. The hook is kind of daunting. Obviously, it's kind of dark because it's like, I'm always in trouble. I'm always gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna die in trouble. Like that's kind of dark. But that song is just I just love the storytelling elements of it. I love the way he's rapping on it because it's not too high, it's not too low. It just sounds menacing. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. So I think it's the best way. Just those back to back songs, I like the way it ends the tape. I like the song. I really love the song.
Right. So for me, I agree with you. Like, just hearing him like go through that whole story of, okay, I've always been in trouble. This is like how my life has been ever since I was young. Um, Getting in the car with my dad, going on the road with him, and then the stuff that he was talking about and the stuff that he's been through, and like me like kind of wondering like, yo, why do you live like this? Like, do you like it or something? It's like, nah, but this is the life basically I chose. Not that I like it, but this is the way I want to live my life.
Mhm.
And this is what comes with it. So I guess I just have to accept it. And part of it's just like, you can change, but you have to want to change. And if you don't want to change, that's just kind of like him foreshadowing, like, damn, my dad was telling me about this or whatever. So maybe I should ship up and fly right. And then obviously see how Charles's life is going, where he's a bit hard-headed and he wants to do things his way, and that's led him into his own trouble. And then you kind of have to reflect on that too, where it's just like, damn, man, like he warned me about this, but like I couldn't really like on some That's a Raven shit. Like, yo, I seen the shit coming and I
Mhm.
still couldn't, avoid it. You know what I mean? So I'll say this, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I feel like with how maybe the tape started and how certain songs were,
Mhm.
hearing this, it kind of ends the tape like kind of anticlimactically, but not like in a bad way, like, oh, this song's not great. It's more like because it's so sad.
Yeah.
Because like I said, been in trouble, always going to be in trouble, and it kind of goes out like with a whimper, like, yeah, but that's just how life is. Sometimes, like, you got to remind people, like, there aren't always happy endings to endings, like to movies, to shows, to whatever. It's like sometimes it's supposed to end with maybe a cliffhanger, or it just fades to black. You know what I mean? And that's just it. Like there isn't no grand and they live happily ever after. Oh, there's the and this is how it concluded. It's like, no, it just ends like that. So overall, it is a really masterful way of telling a story, and then giving people insight of how his life has been. So overall, it is a good song. It is a good song. But like I said, just how it ends, I'm like, damn, this is how the tape ends. But that's sometimes how it goes. So overall, okay, good song.
It's like that. What's the show that everybody was in love with when it was out? Franklin Saint.
Uh, I know what you're talking about. I just can't think. I'm just thinking about the
It's on.
bodies. I can't think of the.
It's right there. But it's like similar to that. How that ended, right? Where everybody was like, oh, they thought he was just gonna be like, oh, he's gonna come back out because he's a hustler. Like sometimes it don't end that way, bro. Sometimes it just that's how people's lives end up. No matter how hard we try to stop it, sometimes it just ends that way. Um, and it's funny in that in the song, like even though Charles' dad is doing all these things that clearly Charles sees as bad or whatever. And dad looks at him and is like, "Yo, this ain't how life is supposed to go, right?" Like he's warning him, like just because it looks like it may look cool, this ain't how it's supposed to be, bro. So it's that's like even that's just vivid. It's like kind of dark, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And the one thing that I always take from it's like you can't be Kobe if you Harold Miner. And
Yep.
like for people who don't know, like those are like two opposite coins of the next Jordan type thing, right? Where it's like Kobe, who we all acknowledge is probably the second closest thing to or the closest thing to Jordan, right? That was work, effort, discipline, patience, all those type of things. And there's Harold Miner who was kind of gifted the moniker, but didn't have the same type of whatever and kind of fell to the wayside or whatever. So just that I love the imagery and the vivid, storytelling that he's using here. So I've heard this song on different tapes or whatever, but I never skip this song. I really, really love this song a lot.
Can't really add anything else to it. So
Yeah. Before we go though, I want to go back to this whole gathering dust thing. Um, and I want to ask you a question. Is there a piece of Mike Jackson media, whether it's a video, a song, or something that you are actually glad is gathering dust and has not seen the light of day in a long time?
I can say this. I know I said on a previous project where like there's like maybe like one or two projects I had where I was like, yo, I deleted them from the internet because I'm like, that's not up to like my speed.
Mhm.
But not counting those, so I hope this never hit the internet. This is going to be one of the things where like if it hit the internet, I've never seen it. I know it happened because real life. I want to say this is probably close to like 10 years ago or something like that. I was at the local bar downtown where I live.
Yeah.
What happened was this woman was about to get married, and you ever see those things that they do where it's like, oh well, you gotta help our friend out because she has to get a picture with like these type of people doing this, and that,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So I don't know how I got picked for it, but they're like, yo, we need a random guy to take a picture with her. We're like, yeah, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know her. Yeah. They're like, no, 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 you gotta have your shirt off. I'm like, nah. They say, no, 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 just someone said, no, you gotta just lift the shirt up a little bit, just show your chest or whatever. I'm like, okay, I can do that because that's real quick, whatever. They said, no,
Right.
no, you have to have the whole shirt off. I'm like, what? Long story short, I took my whole shirt off. Hurry up, took the picture, put my shirt back on. I was like, yo, hopefully this doesn't go online somewhere. It probably
Yeah.
has, but it's so someone has a random picture of me with some random woman in like 2015 or something like that, 2016 maybe, with my shirt off. And hopefully that never hit the air because if that ever does, it's going to be a surprise for me because I've never got to see the picture. I'm like, yo, I don't
Yeah.
want to see it. Yo, enjoy it. Cool, whatever. So that's something where I'm like, yeah, I don't. And I wasn't even like drinking that much that night. So like,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I don't remember that. I got so crazy. It's like, nah, I remember that. And I hope I never see it. I hope y'all don't ever see it.
That's crazy.
Very. Yeah. So that's the one thing I could be like, yeah, I don't want that. Don't want that out.
Uh, there's a video of me um, from fifth grade. I remember, fifth grade you used to do plays or whatever. I don't know if you used to do like MBN plays. Well,
Yeah.
there's two parts to this. One, I was chosen to be um, Montel Williams. Um, I was chosen to be Montel Williams for a Black History Month play or whatever, where I interviewed a bunch of
I'm listening. I'm just like, yo,
where
what?
where I interviewed a bunch of Black History, legends or whatever, Jackie Jordan Kersey, but a bunch of those type of situations, right? That part is fine. Like I killed that role. I remember all my lines, nailed it, whatever. Two performances, morning and night. Get off my dick. Anyway, the other part of the video, however, is there was a dance that you had. There was like a dance portion of the what you call it, and it was the hustle.
All right.
And there's a video that my grandfather took of me doing the hustle during the performance. I can't see anywhere else. I'm still trying to find that VHS to destroy it. Um, so I think it's just best if it just stays lost, and I'll be okay with that.
I think you'll be in the clear just because that was so long ago.
Right?
Like, so
Yeah.
it's not like, at least in my situation, that's like someone could randomly be like, oh yeah, like I feel like home movies and stuff like that. Like that's the type of stuff where it's like that's literally just with your family. So like
Yeah.
they're more likely not going to put that like for the whole world to see. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
I can't trust my family either. So
Okay, all right.
yeah,
Can't trust family. All
they're
right.
like, you'll never guess what we made into a DVD. Like, please. And then we made it to an MP4. Please tell me you didn't put this on Facebook. Next thing you know, my mentions is blowing up. Nah, I can't afford that. So
I
yeah,
get
that's my gathering dust item. But we just listened to Binge Volume 2, Gathering Dust. Let us know what you're gonna give as far as a review, the pros or cons, and what character rating you giving it, man.
All right, so I'm gonna say this just from Jump Street. Comparing Binge 1 to Binge 2, it's one of those things where like, hey, if you're going to be doing a part 2 or whatever the case is, like
Hmm.
it should be better. I do think that Binge 2 is better than Binge 1.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, it's one of those things where obviously they were both made around like 2007,
Hmm.
older era Charles, young Charles.
Yeah.
But I do like this more than the first Binge.
Hmm.
um how the project first starts, I'm like, yo, I'm rocking with it. It sounds good. Of course, like we talk about free balling being like a funny song, whatever, and then also come down just being an instrumental. Even if I took those two away, I'm like, I'm rocking with it. Then it has that bit of the project where I'm like, okay, there's a repeat, there's like two or three songs I'm like,
Hmm.
and you have Ready When You Are, Reflective L. good songs, but they sound like they're a little bit incomplete.
Yeah.
And then it ends good. It ends good. I guess like you said, with the whole incompleteness and then certain songs and me not liking, I think that's what kind of like, lowers it a little bit for me. Like I said, I still like this better than Binge 1. It is Binge 2 is still a product of its time, but overall it is better than the first one. But there are still some glaring things about it where I'm like, so
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a knuckles.
Okay.
Like I said, good tape. It had moments where it's flying high, no free balling, have its moments where it's doing great, and then other moments where it's not, and then other moments where it's missing things, and then overall, I still think it's good, but I'm just gonna have to give it a knuckles. Like I said, there's highs and lows for this tape, but overall, more highs than lows. I'll say that. I think it's still more highs than lows. It's still the highs are edging out. So there it is. What about you? What are you rating it?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I knew we were going to kind of discuss if it was better than the first one. And you know me, I'm always the type of person that kind of compares it to his previous work anyway. And I'm trying to remember. I feel like I gave the original a Knuckles as well because I was high on it back in the day, and then I was like, it's not as good as I remember, right? So I think I gave it a Knuckles. And in my mind today, I feel like I'm gonna give this a Knuckles too. But this is the day where I'm like, this is somewhere between a Knuckles and a Tails. But I can't. We don't have a character for that. But it feels that way because it is an underrated thing because nobody seems to know about it. Knew about it for years or whatever, and nobody brings it up. It's either one or three. Really, only people talk about three. Um, but there's good stuff on here. But like you said, it's just those couple of incomplete songs, free ball in Icebox, where it's like, I probably didn't need those, right? So that's already two songs that I don't need, and the two that need to be finished. Um, but the songs that are really good are really good. I really like those. Um, so those highs are great. It's just those lows of like Icebox and free ball. And I'm just like, that kind of bogs it down. And they're placed in such a weird way because it's like good song, then it's that, and it's good song, then it's that. Then you have an instrumental, and then it's that. So it's like it's definitely that really roller coaster type of ride. So although I like the tape, I do feel like you could probably find something a little bit less rocky. I'll say that to you what you call it. And maybe binge 3 will be that when we get around to that. So stay tuned for that, people. But yeah, this tape, Knuckles for sure.
Right. I think even though this tape's not even that long, because it's like 13 songs, especially back in 2007, 13 is not that long. Before it used to be like, yo, you gotta have at least like 15 minimum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but this probably would have done itself a little bit more justice if In a Jam wasn't put on here just as a repeat. I'm not even going to say anything about the Come Down just being a beat. Maybe just a couple songs being shortened. If it was like a shorter tape like Charles normally does sometimes, where it's like, oh, let's do like 8 or 9 songs or whatever, I think it would have had a higher placement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The positives of this tape would have been able to shine more compared to some of the negatives or incompleteness of the tape. But regardless if it's rocky or sunny, you know what I mean? Like every dog has his day, and hey, you gotta understand that, it's not always going to be smooth sailing every time you do a Charles Hamilton tape.
That's right, man. But let us know what you think about Binge Volume 2 Gathering Dust. How do you feel about the tape? How you feel does it compare to the Volume 1? Um, what do you have that's out there in the mythos that you would like to continue gathering dust? Let us know in the comments. You can go over to subscribe over to YouTube, StarCHaser Central. You can also check us out on Twitter, StarCH. Wait, right?
Yep,
I'm
that's
doing it
correct.
again. I don't know why this happens like every 3 to 4 episodes. I just be like, is that right? Star CH Central. You can also follow us on individual pages. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Stick Around 54, STIK around 54. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On I was about to say on YouTube, like y'all don't need to follow me on YouTube, but on Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, Mike D Jackson, Mike D Jackson. That's 1 D, 2 E's. Holla at me. Make sure you guys are following Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Make sure you subscribe to him on his actual YouTube. at the talented Mr. Hamilton, where he has some new songs, certain playlists and whatnot. By the time you guys have heard this episode, Charles had a new song that dropped.
Yep.
She Smiled for Once, and he has some new management, a new situation. Make sure you guys
Yep.
get yourself a new situation. I have to quote it every time. But if you guys haven't heard that song yet, I know at the time it's just on Instagram, you know what I mean? But yo, check that out. It's a nice song. Charles is back outside, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So check that out. And what else? Oh, if you're not in tune with it, make sure you guys are following his blog and you're looking at the blog. Enter thehamilton.blogspot.com for anything that you don't see on his Twitter or you don't see like on the YouTube. He might have a link to that. So, you know, make sure you're connected with all of it. But yeah, there it is.
Be sure to let us know what you want us to review next. We are knee deep in this binge series. We only got one more to go, unless there was another binge that I forgot about. I don't know. But yeah, continue to send us suggestions. Let us know any specials, any topic that you would like us to talk about with Charles Hamilton, about Charles Hamilton. And yeah, man, we appreciate everybody on this journey. But Mike, do you have anything for the people before we head up?
Nah, not exactly, but thank you guys, you know what I mean, for watching another episode. We appreciate everybody in the Discord, everybody that's leaving comments on the YouTube channel, whatever, because this actually is a very enjoyable experience just to see what you guys think about it, regardless if you agree or disagree. Also, you guys started giving your own little ratings saying, hey, this is what I would rate the tape, whatever. Feel free to do that. Like, you know, just keep the conversation going. But that's it for me. Thank you guys.
Yes, sir. We are logging out of the StarCHaser Central podcast, man. Where we always encourage you to follow your dreams
and reach for the stars.
There's nothing better that I like to do. Been sitting here, cuddle all next to you. Cuddle all next to you. Cuddle all next to you. 'Cause you love me. Hey!